The White House press briefing room had never felt so claustrophobic, and yet so electric. Under the sharp glare of studio lights and the relentless flash of camera shutters, the walls themselves seemed to pulse with anticipation. The air crackled with tension. Rows of journalists from every major network packed the space, their lenses trained on the podium like vultures circling over the bones of breaking news. At the edge of the crowd, barely noticeable at first, stood a family, a man and a woman with tear-reddened eyes, and between them a little girl. She couldn't have been more than 6. Her dress was too thin for the chill of the room. Her shoes were scuffed, and in her small hands she clutched a frayed, off-white teddy bear, missing one button eye. The bear had clearly been loved into near extinction. The little girl's name was Sophia. She didn't cry. She didn't fidget. She just stood there, perfectly still, as if carved from quiet resolve. Her eyes, wide and unblinking, were locked on the podium, on the man standing behind it, President Donald J. Trump. He was delivering one of his signature speeches on immigration, sharp-edged, unapologetic, full of promises to protect the American people and restore law and order. But the words that followed, deportations, removals, zero tolerance, landed like gunshots in the room. Each phrase hit Sophia's parents like a fresh wound. Her mother's hand clutched her father's. Her father stared down at the ground, jaw clenched so tight a muscle in his cheek visibly twitched. But Sophia, little Sophia, held onto her teddy bear with both arms, as if it were the only thing anchoring her in place. The final words of the speech echoed out, "We will no longer look the other way," before the president turned slightly, preparing to step down. That's when it happened. "Excuse me, Mr. President." The voice was impossibly soft, yet piercing. So pure and steady that it seemed to slice through the droning atmosphere like a violin's single, haunting note. The room froze. Cameras jerked away from the stage and swiveled toward the voice. Reporters instinctively stepped aside, revealing the speaker. Sophia, standing on tiptoes, one hand holding her bear, the other slightly raised. Trump stopped in his tracks. The silence was deafening. He turned slowly, as if unsure whether he had imagined the interruption. When he spotted her, his expression flickered. First surprise, then irritation. But politics is performance, and he knew the cameras were watching. So he plastered on a practiced smile, teeth gleaming under the lights. "Yes?" he asked, leaning toward the microphone, voice clipped but controlled. "What is it, sweetheart?" Sophia took one small step forward, dragging her bear by the arm. Her face remained perfectly composed. No fear, no trembling, just curiosity. "Do you know me, Mr. President?" The question dropped like a grenade. Reporters exchanged wide-eyed glances. Every mic was now aimed at the child. Every camera zoomed in on her solemn face. Even the Secret Service agents seemed unsure whether to intervene or simply observe. Trump blinked. His grin faltered. "Do I know you?" he repeated, chuckling awkwardly. "Well, no. I don't think I do, darling. I meet a lot of people every day." He glanced at his press secretary, who gave a tight-lipped smile, unsure where this was going. Sophia didn't laugh, didn't blink. Her eyes, far too deep for a child, stayed locked on him. "Do you know tomorrow, Mr. President?" The room gasped. A ripple of tension surged through the crowd, like the instant before a storm hits. A few journalists scribbled the quote down, not sure whether they were covering politics or prophecy. Trump shifted. His face paled just slightly, though he tried to laugh it off again. "Tomorrow? Of course. I've got a full schedule. Rallies. Meetings. We're going to Michigan." Sophia interrupted him again. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't have to. "If you don't know all this," she said softly, "then it is fine." That was it. Just those words. But something in the way she said them, something in her eerie calm, made the atmosphere implode. You could hear a pin drop. Her parents looked at each other, stunned. The president just stood there, lips slightly parted, eyes suddenly glassy. What had she meant? What did she know? It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a plea. It was a pronouncement, a verdict, as if something larger had spoken through her. And in that moment, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, looked smaller than he ever had. His usual bravado, the force of will that powered his speeches, his campaign rallies, his Twitter tirades drained from his face. His jaw twitched. His eyes flicked to the shadows in the corners of the room, as if he suddenly felt watched by something he couldn't see. He didn't speak again. He didn't finish the press conference. He simply turned around, quietly, slowly, and walked off the stage. His exit wasn't the confident strut reporters had come to expect. It was hesitant, waited, as if every step cost him something. And that was when the chaos erupted. The footage went viral within hours. Social media exploded. Hashtag #DoYouKnowTomorrow began trending worldwide. Conspiracy theories flooded forums. Was Sophia psychic? Was it a setup? Was it the ghost of a deported child speaking through her? Was it a warning? A glitch in reality? A coded message? Late night, hosts played the clip on loop. Commentators on both sides of the political divide tried to explain, to rationalize, to own the moment. But no one could explain why Trump, normally unflappable, even combative, had looked so afraid. Then came the background checks. Internet sleuths unearthed the family's records. Sophia's parents were undocumented immigrants from Honduras, having fled gang violence and political unrest. They'd applied for asylum years ago, denied, appealed, denied again, and now, under the new policy, they were slated for deportation within days. But the story didn't stop there. Several journalists who had been in the room came forward saying they felt off during the encounter. One reporter said her watch stopped at the exact moment Sophia asked, "Do you know tomorrow?" Another claimed the lights in her hotel room flickered all night afterward. Security footage revealed something even stranger. Sophia had not been on the official list of attendees. Her family had not been cleared to enter the press hall. No one knew how they'd gotten in. An independent journalist, reviewing raw footage, noticed a frame-by-frame anomaly. When Sophia stepped forward, the image glitched for a fraction of a second. In that single frame, her eyes appeared completely white. It sparked panic in some corners of the internet. The girl who stopped time. The child who cracked the veil. Prophet in pigtails. Within a week, the family vanished. No official deportation notice. No IC activity reported at their home. No flight records. Nothing. Gone. The house they were staying in was found empty, with signs of a hasty departure. But oddly, Sophia's teddy bear was still there, sitting upright on a child's bed. One journalist who entered the room described the air as freezing cold, despite a working heater. 3 days later, President Trump canceled several public appearances. Then he made an unannounced visit to Camp David. Sources close to the White House said he seemed distracted, jumpy, and was overheard asking staff, "Have you ever felt like someone's watching you, but you don't know who?" The nation, meanwhile, was hooked. People began reporting dreams, thousands of them, all featuring a little girl holding a teddy bear. In some dreams, she was walking through a desert. In others, she stood at the edge of a cliff, pointing at something in the distance. And in almost every account, she whispered the same words. "If you don't know all this, then it is fine." The phrase began appearing on billboards, street art, T-shirts. Murals of Sophia began to pop up in cities around the world. She was turned into a symbol of innocence, of resistance, of cosmic justice. Protesters chanted her words outside government buildings. Poets wrote sonnets about her. Musicians sampled her voice from the footage into songs. And yet no one could find her. No one could prove she ever existed beyond that moment. White House staff were ordered not to speak of the incident. Official transcripts of the press conference were quietly edited to omit her interruption. Video footage began to disappear from official archives. But the internet never forgets. And neither did the president. Because insiders say that for months afterward, he had a new routine. Every night, before going to bed, he would pause by the Oval Office window, stare out at the dark lawn, and whisper to no one in particular, "Do I know tomorrow?" Then he'd close the curtains. And sometimes, just sometimes, he thought he saw a small figure in the shadows, watching, waiting, still holding a teddy bear. If this story gave you chills, if it made you pause and think, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to the channel right now for more spine-tingling, thought-provoking stories that blend reality with the extraordinary. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment. Drop a comment below what you think Sophia meant. Who was she? This story isn't over, and neither is the mystery. Stay curious, stay alert, stay subscribed.